Knatters. I'm Jennifer, and this is my knitting and nattering video podcast. Sorry about that. I went to start talking to you and realized I had a bit of a frog in my throat, although my throat still feels a bit froggy. I am drinking a matcha tea blend from Bird and Blend today. I tend to do, that's Oliver going through the cat flap. Libby is right here next to me. You can't quite see her, but she did run over. Ooh, there's a little bit of cattail. She did run over to say hi when I was settled here. What was I going to say? I tend to drink a cup of matcha on days when I've been for a run because I put a little electrolyte powder in, and it's a really kind of salty baking soda-y flavor, which the matcha covers. I know the chances of me actually having an electrolyte deficiency after a half-hour run at a not very fast pace are pretty low, but the days I was running, and to a lesser extent some of the days I wasn't, my legs were kind of like having tiny muscle spasms when I was lying in bed at night trying to go to sleep. Just like and I looked it up, and the most common, like the easiest explanation for something like that is an electrolyte imbalance, which can be caused by exercising, and electrolytes are in pretty much everything, so you don't need, most people don't need to do anything for electrolytes, but because I was having symptoms of an electrolyte imbalance, I've been putting electrolyte powder in my matcha on days I run, and I haven't had the little twitchiness in my legs, so who knows. Yeah, it's only been 1 week, I think, like a week and a half maybe. What's today? Today is the 19th of January, just checking out my watch. And it's a Wednesday because the bins are out. The bins are actually back in because I already brought them in. I am all over the place today. I'm sorry for that. I thought I knew what I was going to do. I was ready to sit down, and then my husband came in for lunch. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll have lunch first, and then I'll do this. And now I'm a bit discombobulated. Anyway, on to the knitting. Oh, I have a finished object. I have a finished object, so I will, in the traditional way, start with that. I wanted my blanket to be my first finished object of the year, but it is the elf socks. These are knit with leftover yarns that I had in my stash. They're both Admiral Schoppel Admiral 6-ply. Is that what it is? It's a nice yarn. Thick bouncy socks. I knit a sock in red, I knit a sock in green. I looked at my leftovers and I thought I could make some really, really warm Christmas socks with these. I tried a whole bunch of different things. I tried doing a couple of rows of each stripe. I tried doing helical stripes, which is just like one row. And eventually I decided just to go for these kind of color blocked elf socks. So that is what I have. And I haven't woven the ends in. I haven't even normally, I finish a pair of socks and I put them on right away. Excuse me. But seeing as it is almost the end of January, and these are very much festive socks, I haven't. I'll just put them in my drawer. Weave the ends in first, hopefully, and put them in my drawer for next year. Plop them over there. I am sat in a new place. If you are a new viewer, you don't know that, but if you're a returning viewer, you're probably like, hey, new place. I tried this out when I was doing the vlogs, because then I was sat here with like the Christmas tree by the front windows, and I really like the light, and it has been raining off and on all day today. And I normally sit in the conservatory, and you can really hear the rain on the roof. It's been really loud. I've been hearing it inside the house, so I assume if I'd gone out to the conservatory, it would have sounded like someone was pouring marbles on a tin just over my head. So yeah, trying out a new room, not quite as scenic in the background, but it does have really nice light. I may experiment with turning slightly more towards the window. We will see what we will see. My next one, work in progress, is my Marvelous Monthly Minis blanket. Where's the end? I had just put the first color for December in last time, which is this kind of one. I put the stitch marker where the December colors started rather than where I talked about it last, because that's just how I was feeling. This is all the December colors. You may notice something maybe a bit alarming. I'm supposed to be done with the blanket. I am out of colors, and I am clearly not done. I think the weight of the blanket must have been pulling my stitches and stretching out my gauge so the yarn didn't go as far. Helen of Giddy Yarns did mention that she still has some spare packs of the November and December colors, and she would sell me two if I wanted to rip back and add a little more to those. But I saw on her website she still has the May colors, which is this dark blue, light blue through to these kind of purpley reddish pinks. And I thought if I added on from the dark blue side, it would go, that would be the color progression. And I think that will look really nice. And, oh dear, I've pulled this off. Pulled some stitches off the needle. The other thing I did was I went down 0.5 millimeter needle size. So I think it was 3.5s and now I'm using 3. Or it could have been 4s and now I'm using 3.5s. My black jumper I'm working on, I know, is 3.5s, and I was looking at smaller needles for that. But anyway, I measured my needle. I went down 0.5 millimeter needle size. So hopefully that will tighten up my stitches a bit. And then folding it in half, there's not quite 5 full colors. I think it's 4 colors once I finished the dark blue. But yeah, hopefully I will just go on from there and it will all work, and I won't be talking to you again the week after going, well, I've got 3 stitches left and what do I do now? But yeah, my blanket. I was so disappointed when I realized it was not going to work out the way I had pictured it in my head. But yeah, knitting is like everything else in life. Sometimes things go wrong and you have to figure it out. So I finished the socks once I ran out of yarn on that. And then I've been working on my black Joan. And this cat stitch marker is where we were last time. And then this one was just my beginning of round when I switched to smaller needles. And that's just when I tried it on and said, okay, I want it to be 2 inches longer. So those are my stitch markers there. These, let's see, I've got the little kitty with the green yarn. And then this one is green yarn. I'm pretty sure I got this one off Etsy, and then this one came with one of my advent calendars. But yeah, they match. So I've got this, and next I'll pick up the other sleeve. I am not enjoying knitting on this. I don't love the yarn. My needles keep, it's a chain ply. I don't know if you can kind of see the spaces between that. My needles keep catching on the spaces, like the loops of the thread, the yarn construction. It is black, so you can't really see what you're doing anyway. And yeah, I mean, mindless round and round and round knitting is normally something I'm perfectly happy to do. I am not enjoying making that. I want my pretty colors. I think it's the pretty colors that I really want the most. Black is absolutely a staple color in my wardrobe. If I had a neutral, it would be black. I wear dark blue denim and black as my neutrals. I'd wear white, but it gets so dirty, but white would also be one of my neutrals. I do not look good in beige or tan or khaki or almost any shade of gray. I can do a really dark, like slate gray-ish, and I mean, navy and dark gray don't look bad on me, but they don't look good on me either. Compared to like me in black, my skin glows, and me in navy, I don't look sickly. I don't look green, but my skin doesn't glow the way it does with really jewel tones and blacks. So yeah, I don't, like all the other people are like, I need neutrals, and I'm like, oh no, brown, can't do, don't do brown. So yeah, for me, black, it is absolutely a thing that once I have it in my wardrobe, I imagine I will wear it a lot. I'm just not enjoying knitting it. So that is kind of what I have been knitting on. I did a few rounds on another sock, but that's neither here nor there. Literally, it's not here, it is there. And I have some purchases. My phone's beeping over to the side. I left it, not my phone, my computer. I left it on. While I was up, I of course knocked my pad over, so new camera angle. That's just what it is. I don't know if I mentioned I am wearing my original Lovenote. This is in the size extra large to double XL, knit with a discontinued Old Maiden Aunt base, a single ply merino in the colorway pink, that's PYNK, held with a strand of fyberspates cumulous. It might be fyberspates cumulous, but I just don't know. To me, it sounds better as fyberspates, so. In the color ruby, and I wanted a red jumper. It is a red jumper. I liked it so much. I knit another one that I was wearing last week in a size smaller, and then I accidentally went down a needle size, and I'm using different floof. It looks completely different, but they're both really nice. In fact, I think it's the only, I mean, like other than socks and maybe hats, I don't think I've knit two of anything ever before. I was going to move on to acquisitions. I know I said I'm trying to not acquire things this year, but these are my Christmas presents. I got a skein of the die shed, Little Orkney die shed. This is BFL bamboo base. Look at those pretty colors. Ta-da. And speaking of Old Maiden Aunt, I got this set, that's just caught right there, this gorgeous set of 100% superwash merino 4-ply minis. Look at how pretty those are. Ah, gorgeous. It was when I was ordering the yarn, the final skein of yarn I needed for my other Lovenote. I threw this in the basket as well because they're so pretty. And then I told my husband to have the kids given to me for Christmas. I already mentioned my yarn bowl from Rusty Ferret last week, which is gorgeous and I love it. And I've been using it with my socks. And when I ordered that, I also dropped this as Kids Rainbow on her doll base from Rusty Ferret. Look at that. This is so pretty. I mean, it's even prettier than it looked on the website, and it looked pretty on the website. I'm so excited for this one, and I don't even know what I'm going to do with it, but it will be exciting, and I will love everything about it, unlike my black jumper, which is black and a jumper. So that is what I got for Christmas. The three, we'll call it 3 skeins, 2 skeins and a mini set and the yarn bowl. And then on Friday, a lot of the things I knit over the last several years have been knit-alongs with the Arnold Colorford Techniques, formerly Arnold Colorford Knitwear group, first on Ravelry and then on their own forum on their own website. On Friday, they announced that they're going to have to put the business on hiatus. Jen, who is the creative director, really, she has been under a lot of pressure with, well, there's pandemic and running a company and having a family that is higher needs, and then there is the flaming bag of dog poop on everybody's front porches that is Brexit. And if you're not a billionaire looking for an offshore tax haven, then that is what Brexit has been for everyone. Ask me how I really feel. I hate it. And I mean, I'm just generally livid, and I especially hate it when it is hurting people I love, people I care about. And in general, I mean, it's a lot of knitting businesses are struggling or closing. Isolde folded her shop pretty much right when, I mean, it was probably last year this time, they announced they were closing the physical side of the shop because they just couldn't stock the yarns, and they didn't want the business to become one where they were stocking the exact same yarns as most other. They had a lot of European yarns and some American yarns, couldn't get them. Arnold Colorford has a lot of European yarns, and yeah, they're having to put the business on hiatus for now. My husband's almost home. And so they announced that they are going to be having sales in the coming weeks, and that they were going to be doing them like staggered. So some things would go on sale and they'd have time to pack up the orders and send them out. And then on Monday, they put up a thing saying that the sale was going to have to be postponed a bit while they caught up with all the orders they got over the weekend. Because so many people looked at this news and how they had paid all the commissions, getting people to write patterns and buying yarn and all that stuff, but they hadn't been paying themselves. They've been loaning their salaries back to the business, and they're hoping that in the selling off of the physical goods that they could get most of that back. And a lot of people like me said I can buy something full price. And another interruption. This time my husband had come home, so I stopped the video for a bit because now I'm sat in the middle of the lounge. Anything he does in the house is either listening to me do this, which is awkward for me, or him walking around in the room where I'm recording, which is a bit awkward too. Libby, of course, abandoned me for Chris when he came in. Anyway, I was saying that I've ordered some things from the Arnold Colorford Techniques website, and it came yesterday. It came very promptly. Today's Wednesday, they packed it Monday, showed up Tuesday. That sounds about right. I got 2 skeins of the cream, the undyed color, in their Something to Knit with Aran that they had a couple years back. All the Something to Knit with Aran has disappeared from their website now. But I thought Hunter Hammerson has a really cute hat pattern spicule. And it's basically like an Aran jumper, a lot of different twisted stitch cable patterns for cute little hats. And yeah, I would like to knit those, and the stitches are really going to pop in a light colored yarn. I got some more Fab Funky Fibres. This is Lazy Sunday Afternoon. So one of them is the first half of the rainbow and the other one is the second half of the rainbow. That's 2 40-gram balls and a 20-gram in this contrasting beigey brown. I don't love the beigey brown, but it's okay for heels, right? And then I got 2 new sock yarns that were supposed to be for the next book coming out, which has been postponed indefinitely at this point. These are both Schoppelwolles. This one is a hemp blend. Dropped the other one. That's German. Still German. It is 67% wool, 23% polyamide, and 10% hemp. Yeah, 67% virgin wool, 23% nylon, biodegradable nylon, and 10%. Why does that one not? It's just listed as chanvre, but it's hemp, is what it is. So that's one skein of sock yarn, and then the other one is 75% virgin wool and 25% biodegradable nylon. And this one is going to be that reds and pinks colorway, which would go really well with this jumper. So that is the yarn I got from their not sale yet sale. But if you are interested either in seeing if they have anything left that you would be interested in, or you can sign up for their website, not their website, their newsletter to hear when they do start the sale. Because they were going to do the sale in stages so they could keep up with the orders. And then I guess they just got so many orders over the weekend that they haven't been able to start the sale yet or needed to yet. I know I was, after I placed my order, every so often out over the weekend, poke my nose in and see what they still had. One of my other knitters said that she got the last of the Fab Funky Fibres. Both of these, new to me, as new sock yarns, were sold out on the website. Bunch of other stuff, like lots of colors, were disappearing. There were only a few skeins left of the Something to Knit with Aran, that disappeared. There was a bunch of Old Maiden Aunt Superwash merino 4-ply in different colors, and most of those colors are sold out. There's some newest sport, and I was thinking about getting some of the teal, but when I check back, the teal is sold out. A bunch of colors, I mean, just things are selling out left, right, and center, and that makes me so happy. Not happy that it needs to happen, but just the outpouring of knitters rallying to help them recoup their losses. That makes me happy and sad. I think that's just about it on our side. The knitting and stuff. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to say. I did start, they did say the knitting hub is closing and that they're going to freeze the Ravelry group as well, and that we should start a fan forum on Ravelry for that. So I did that, even though, I mean, I can use Ravelry, although over Vlogmas, there was a new to me vlogger. I mean, generally, she's in her first year, but she was doing it and she was showing, like she did a split screen where she showed her stash on Ravelry on one side, and on the other side she was showing, like, she was going through her stash, and she kept scrolling up and down, and it was in the dark mode, and the dark mode on Ravelry really, I don't know why, but it like swims like a funhouse mirror. I've heard it's because it's navy and not the standard colors for dark mode, which is black and then like a an almost white, but it's a really pale gray. It's a navy and like a light yellow or something, but the web page just, I had to stop that video. And then I felt nauseous for a fair amount of time because she just kept scrolling it up and down on the screen. After having said that she knows that some people can't deal with Ravelry, so I don't think she actually understands that some people can't deal with Ravelry, like cannot even look at screenshots of Ravelry. And I'm like I get the occasional migraine, but I'm not prone to any kind of visual thing. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. So I created a group for the survivors on Ravelry, and I don't know, are people interested in a Discord? No one watches this, so it's not that no one watches it. Not enough people watch this to have a consensus for non-Ravelry users. But yeah, Ravelry for me is in the same category as like Facebook and Amazon, where I feel bad, like I feel dirty using it. I think a seagull just went by. Like I don't like using it, but it does things that nothing else does yet. For whatever reason here in Inverness, organizations rely really heavily on Facebook as a way of like managing people. People don't have their own websites. They have Facebook pages and all sorts of, someone's taking the bins in from outside, all sorts of weird things like that. So it's really hard to do anything in Inverness without having Facebook to check everyone's Facebook pages, businesses and organizations' Facebook pages. But I feel the same way about Ravelry, where I don't like using it. If there was a viable alternative, I would prefer to use that, and I have tried. But until there are, and to make sure, I really love the AC knitwear community, like the friends I've made through that is the core of my online existence, I suppose. So if Ravelry is the only way to stay in touch with most of those people, then I will use Ravelry to stay in touch with those people and limit the amount of money I give to Ravelry is what I will do. Hold on. So yeah, complicated feelings about Ravelry. Actually, my feelings about Ravelry are pretty straightforward. Complicated feelings about using Ravelry, and really bittersweet feelings about my acquisitions, because they're beautiful yarns that have been very careful, like clearly very carefully curated, and I hate the reason why I went out and bought them. And yeah, in personal news, we got a fun email yesterday saying that Catherine, my 5-year-old, just turned 5, is considered a close contact of someone at nursery who has tested positive for coronavirus, and that she had to do a lateral flow test and otherwise to carry on as normal unless she has symptoms, which seems insufficient to me. But I did lateral flow her. I will continue to lateral flow her. I think I know who the child in question is. I asked her who hadn't been at school this week, and she only knew one kid by name. I'm like, that's probably the kid then, yep. But I don't know the family to reach out and see if they're okay or if they need anything. So yeah, I really wish the kids here, they've approved the vaccine for 5 to 11-year-olds, but they haven't started vaccinating yet. Sorry, I just can't seem to shake this little tickle in my throat that's just making me sound a bit hoarse. I don't feel like I sound hoarse the rest of the day, so I don't know what it is about sitting down and record a podcast that suddenly my throat's like, what are you doing? But yeah, I will continue testing Catherine every morning before I send her to nursery. Just hopefully if she does develop coronavirus, we will catch it. And yeah, I meant to go to the pharmacy today to get another box of lateral flow kits, but I went in and it was so hot, and there were 2 people in the shop, and I went in and then someone came in after me and looked around, like didn't even use the I was at the hand sanitizer table, and he just went and got in the queue. And then, so I was angry, it's only supposed to be 3 customers in here at a time. You're supposed to use the hand sanitizer when you come in. And yeah, then I couldn't find what I was looking for, because when I'm wearing contacts, my eyes, I have an astigmatism and my contacts don't correct for it. So I have trouble reading, like I can see fine, but I have trouble reading when I had the astigmatism, so I'm looking all over the shop trying to find the eye drops I was in there for my dry eyes. My contacts really dry my eyes out. All contacts I've tried, like the highest, most moisturizing, non-drying contacts. My eyes are just really dry. Yeah, so I eventually found it, and then other people came in and like pushed past me to get ahead in the queue, and it was so hot in there, which, you know, you go in wearing your winter coat and they've got the heat on, but also I had just been for my run, so I was really, really hot, and then I completely forgot to get the lateral flow tests. So, but I did get the eye drops, and I can pick up the lateral flow tests tomorrow after school, or when I get the kids, or sometime. Anyway, yeah, lots of coronavirus testing for us, and it is raining again. I'm kind of tired and out of it, but I'm glad. I want to talk to you guys. I don't really have anything to say, and I only had a little knitting to show for it, but I do want to talk. Yeah. Hope you are doing well. If you made it this far, like, subscribe, help me attract more people to hang out with in my little jibbery-jabbery, flibberty-gibberty knitting podcast. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good day. Bye.